This is Alabama Politics with Steve Flowers, an in-depth interview with Alabama's top political newsmakers. Now, from the studios of Troy University, here is Steve Flowers.
I'm Steve Flowers, and welcome to Alabama Politics. Folks, we have tonight as our guest Michael Fritz, who is a candidate for House District 74 here in Montgomery. Our show is basically turned to a River Region show. We have all the River Region candidates and office holders and state senators and county commissioners. And Michael is running for the House seat of the former Dimitri Polisos. Dimitri, as you viewers probably know, is passed away about a month or two ago from a heart attack. And he was a beloved fellow here in Montgomery, representing the House District 74 very aptly. As a businessman, a restaurant owner, he was known throughout the city, but especially in his district, and especially in the Greek community. So we'll miss Dimitri in the House, but got a lot of quality candidates running for the House seat, and one of them is young Michael Fritz. Michael, good to have you on the show.
Thank you, Steve.
Michael is an attorney, practices law here in Montgomery. Tell our folks about everything. Where did you grow up here in Montgomery?
No, I grew up in North Georgia, up in the mountains, and I went to the Navy right after high school. And I was in the Navy and an Auburn fan, and really the colors orange and blue changed a lot because my high school was orange and blue. I became an Auburn fan, and when I was in the Navy, a buddy of mine said, you know, you can go to AUM and it'll have Auburn on your diploma. And so I came to AUM in 1990.
From North Georgia?
From North Georgia.
Oh, you already been in the Navy?
I had been in the Navy for 2 years, and so I was out of school for.
What year was this?
This was 1990 is when I moved to Montgomery.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, it is, and I married a Montgomery girl.
Oh, good.
And she grew up here, so.
Y'all about the same age and everything?
We are.
What are you, in your early 40s?
Thank you so much. I'm 47.
That's about right. Yeah, that's a good age. And now y'all have children?
We do, and we are empty nesters for the first time. We have a son that's graduating May 11th from the University of Tampa, and then we have a freshman at Troy, and so he's home a lot. The one from Tampa doesn't come home a lot. Two boys. Yes.
Now, what was your wife's maiden name?
Her name is Elizabeth Wells, and her father was the CFO of Baptist Hospital for 35 years.
Is that right?
Frank Wells. He's been a big mentor of mine.
Are they still living here in Montgomery?
They are. They're in their mid-70s, mid-80s, and they're still living here.
They live in the district?
No, just barely outside.
Out of the district.
They're in Wind Lakes, but just barely outside, which I think helps them because then they wouldn't have to make the decision of whether to vote for me or not.
Let me ask you this now. Is AUM in that district?
AUM is in the district. The neighborhoods around there, Copperfield, and then the students are also on there.
Tell our viewers what all in Montgomery is in that District 74.
Okay. The big neighborhoods are half of Sturbridge, all of Halcyon.
Half of Sturbridge?
Half of
Sturbridge is cut in half. Reed Ingham gets the other part?
He does. Yeah, Reed has the other part. And it's funny because that's where we live, and some of our neighbors
cannot vote for it. You live in Sturbridge?
We do. We do. And then you have Halcyon, you have Copperfield, some of Arrowhead, and then you go. It goes north of 85 all the way down to Capitol Heights. So I have Capitol Heights, around Faulkner, where College Grove. They have a lot, and Morning View around the church there. So those are the big neighborhoods.
Where do y'all go to church here?
We go to First Baptist. Jay married us.
I love Jay Wood.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
I, for some reason, used to get him, and I used to call Jay Wolf and Jay, who was in the house from here in Montgomery.
Love?
Yeah, I used to call them by the different name, by the same name. Both of them were Jay, and both of them looked kind of alike to me, and so I call one of them Jay Wolf halftime, one Jay Love. Jay would be on the show periodically. We have the House members from the area, so hopefully if you're elected, you'll come back on and be with us because our viewing audience is a lot in the River region. What do you perceive are the top issues for your people that you're running? Have you already been out campaigning?
I have. We campaigned. My wife and I went and knocked on doors for the first time. But we're so involved in the community. We're on the AUM Alumni Board. She is, and I'm on the library board and the Lagoon Park Trail Board. So we have a feel of what's going on. And the number one issue for Montgomery, whether you're running for dog catcher or for governor, is education.
That's what everybody says. So y'all are acutely aware that that's Montgomery's biggest problem.
It is Montgomery's biggest problem. The hard thing from the mayor to the legislator is, what can you do and how can I do anything? You know, we have a state school board. We have a county school board. What can you do in the legislature to fix education? There's 100 different ways to do it. And 100 different people that you have to talk to. I think what we need to do is to make sure that the local school boards, the state school boards, are getting the resources that they need to get. I think our biggest problem is recruiting teachers. We want to have high standards for our teachers, but I've been told that you can't fire teachers because there's a teacher shortage. Who are you going to replace them with? And so there are different programs to better the pay and the retirement for teachers. And I think that and then the student loan problem that we have with teachers. I do bankruptcy, and I run into a lot of teachers that have student loans. They'll be asked to get a $50,000 degree to get a $3,000 bump in pay. And the numbers don't work for that. So it
costs that to get a master's.
Exactly. And so, are we incentivizing teachers enough to make them want to go into teaching? Because teachers and the leadership, that's what drives the school. Not how much money they have, which is important, but it's the leadership that's in that classroom every day. And if we're not getting the highest quality, and we don't have people that we can replace bad teachers with, we're stuck. So I think statewide, through our education, our college education, and through incentives of our public school teachers, I think that's what we can do as legislatures to help the problem. We can't go in and fire a principal. We can't say you need to use this textbook. There are some things with Common Core that we can do, but I think teacher recruitment and getting the best people out of college is what I think I can do. But you got to be able to
pay them, though. You got to be able to pay them more than they would make somewhere else.
And that's right, and that's where taxes and being good stewards of our money would be, and our hands are tied a lot because the local school boards.
Speaking of that, Michael. There was a lot of interest and a lot of combativeness on these school board races in Montgomery. I report on the politics here through CBS 8 in Montgomery. I'm on CBS 8 and different things. And those races really were hotly contested. It drove voter turnout.
Yeah, and what they did is there was behind the scenes, there were people that were saying, just like we were talking about quality teachers, do we have quality people running for these for these local boards, people that care, people that are going to go into classrooms. And so what they did is there were some people that were going out and recruiting people to run. And like with everything, if your football team's not doing well, you get a new coach. And I think that's what they were doing is our school system wasn't going well, so let's recruit new leadership. And you know, it being our number one problem, I think it was a wise move. They get more people involved and get.
It really drove the turnout here in Montgomery. It was a big turnout. Yeah. So they turned out most of the school board members, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't have the count, but I think in the last two elections we've turned over every school board seat.
How many school board seats are there here?
6, I believe. Yeah.
So many things in the legislature, when you get there, will realize there's a lot of local legislation that has to be dealt with, which you would deal with on school board stuff and that sort of thing. Is there a harmony among the Montgomery County delegation at this time?
There is. I spoke with Mayor Strange, and Mayor Strange said that they meet together anybody, the Montgomery delegation of the legislature meet together with the city council and the county commissioner and the mayor, and they have a working relationship. Reed Ingram is a great guy, and I've got to know him through this process. And Todd Strange says he tells me no sometimes, but he doesn't waffle on it. And he said I'd rather have a no than a yes and then not and then go no.
Right.
But so Mayor Strange believes that there's a tight group of people that are working together. You know, my slogan is Montgomery Proud. We have to be proud of Montgomery, and we have to work every day to make Montgomery better. Even though I'm going to be in the State House, I'm one of the few, I think, that my whole district is in the city of Montgomery. I don't have any Pike Road. I don't have any Millbrook. It's all Montgomery. So Montgomery is going to be my focus.
You're the only one that has a district like that, aren't you?
I think so.
74 is the only one that's doesn't go to different parts and that sort of thing. Reed goes into Pike Road.
He does.
Actually lives at Pike Road. And then that's interesting. Well, who are the other? Let's see. There's Wills Barfoot's in the Senate, and who are the other House members here in Montgomery? Let's see.
I should know that, and I don't know that off the top of my head.
Who the House members are? Does Holmes come into the city? He's always now more than Talk, isn't he?
He is.
Mike Holmes is, yeah. Dismukes doesn't come in Montgomery.
No, Dismukes is Talca County as well.
What committees would you like to be on? Have you thought about it?
One is judiciary, being an attorney, and that's the one I'd really like to be on. But I would serve anywhere.
Well, now, you know, that may not be a hard pull because there's not as many lawyers in the legislature.
I've heard that there's 7.
That's what I'm saying. There used to be like half. But out of 105 members, there's not that many House members that are lawyers now.
Yeah, I was talking with one of the Alabama Judicial Association, and they said that there's 7.
I tell you, somebody who did a yeoman's job on this infrastructure tax thing was Representative Bill Pooh from Tuscaloosa. You need to get to know him in the House. He's chairman of the Ways and Means Education, and Steve Klaus, one of my best friends, is chairman of the Ways and Means General Fund. So maybe one day you might be on the General Fund, Ways and Means, or.
Well, I have a bankruptcy experience, and I help reorganize small businesses. And so really, small business is my emphasis. We need to make sure that we have a good infrastructure and promote small businesses because they create jobs, and large businesses too. But the small to medium-sized business, they get the short end of the stick a lot. And so, my experience with reorganizing, looking at books, I would love to be on the Ways and Means Committee and help with the budget.
Yeah. Well, those two guys are really good in the House. The camaraderie in the House is good. And you'll be joining a super Republican majority. Yeah. That's a Republican district. And but you know, the House is 78 or 77 to 28.
It is, yeah.
77 Republicans, only 28 Democrats.
Maybe that's why they get along so much. But Reed has taken me around and introduced me to a lot of people.
Oh, good.
And I've been on the floor last week and up in the balcony and watching. And it seems to be a real sense of the people that are there now want to do what's best for their constituents, and I really feel that.
Do you look forward to a grassroots campaign?
I do. What we've done is we've knocked on doors. We're putting up the yard signs, going to every neighborhood association. I think I've been to 3 or 4 of them. We want to go to the neighborhood associations. We want to have, we've had, I think, 5 of our friends that are hosting meet and greets at their homes, opening their homes, inviting their neighbors. I really believe that I'm a reasonable person who people like. And I think when they meet me, that's why I want to get out and meet people, because I think when they meet me, they're going to say, this is a guy who is reasonable. He's not extreme one way or the other. He listens to people, cares about people, and will make good choices.
You know, state employees is part of that district.
It is.
There are
we
a
have
lot
a
of state employees in that district. Maybe one of the biggest.
Yeah, we've taken that into consideration. I mean, there's a lot. They have an association, and you know, we're talking to the association to see what the needs of these state employees are.
Well, you know, Delrata is a big part of the district.
It is. Delrata is a huge.
What would be the largest neighborhood? Name the neighborhoods again in that district. Your neighborhood of Sturbridge.
Sturbridge, the Fox Hollow, the Morning View, Capitol Heights, Delrata. Delrata, I've been in there, and some people consider themselves Johnstown, but other people consider Johnstown part of Delrata, so it's hard to tell. Forest Hills is because of the denseness, is a huge.
Is that Carriage Hills on the Eastern Bypass in that district?
No, it's not.
It's not in that
No.
district,
No.
No, you don't go to the Eastern Bypass then, do you?
No, we don't go to Bell Road is the
Atlanta
cutoff.
Highway.
Bell Road up to the interstate, and then west.
You don't know who was in that seat for Dimitri, do you? I wonder who was in that seat for Dimitri was. Dimitri was there 6 years.
Yeah, he was there 6 years.
Somebody left that seat early, I think.
I think it's Jay Love.
I think he was,
Yeah,
too.
Jay Love.
That was Jay's seat then.
Yeah,
That was the
I
seat
talked
he
to
was
Jay.
in.
Jay is up on the floor all the time.
Uh-huh.
They go to First Baptist with us, and
Yeah, I
our
knew he
kids are
did.
about the same age.
Uh-huh.
And I still don't. I never asked him why he left, and
I know he was chairman of Ways and Means, wasn't he?
yeah, he was.
Uh-huh. You know, his father-in-law was in the house with me,
No.
Claude Walker.
Okay.
You know, and I remember his wife being a page. That's how old I am. I remember that Jay's wife paging up there when she's a little girl
That's amazing.
in the house when I was in the legislature. Of course, I went there at a young age. I was 30 when I went to the house,
Okay.
but from Pike County. I remember, never forget, I saw it when Jay came in there with her. I said, I remember you were a little girl. Her dad, you ever know her father, Claude Walker?
I didn't.
Uh-huh.
I didn't.
He served one term. One term in the House. Did you ever know Bob McKee had that district one time?
Mm-hmm.
Remember old Bob McKee?
I do.
Uh-huh.
I do.
Bob was conservative. Boy, he was conservative. He'd fight with Alvin all the time. He and Alvin would get into fights. And Alvin would pick on him, make him edge him on, you know, and so McKee would do it.
Alvin wouldn't do that.
I can't believe the House ain't got Alvin Holmes anymore.
I know.
You know, it's not the same.
The most popular is his list of beers.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that.
He was great.
Yeah.
Listen, tell me this: who are some of your friends in the House now? Reed's the best one.
Yeah, and then Will Barfoot and I.
You like old Will?
Yeah, I do.
I love Will
Yeah.
Barfoot. Is he your state senator?
He is.
Uh-huh.
He is. What he does, what I do with my law firm is I go to other law firms and market to them. And so Will had me in before he even thought about running, and I went and told all his firm about how bankruptcy works and how it affects their practice. And so we become friends probably about 2 years before
He ran.
he ran.
You know,
Yeah,
Will
he's
and
good.
I claim kin to each other.
No.
Yeah, our ancestors went off to the Civil War together. My ancestors from North Pike County and China Grove were in the Montgomery Cavalry, and my great-great-great-grandma was a Barfoot.
Wow.
Yeah, so Will and I, his uncle Joel, who was on the county commission, we've always claimed kin to each other. They
Okay.
call
Well,
him
that's a good one to be.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
I was so tickled when he ran for that Senate. He carried every box in his district.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that?
I know.
He got
we
outworked
watched it. The funny thing is, we've been friends with Rhonda. I want to say McCall, but she's Walker now.
Uh-huh.
Her and her husband Jason. So we like both of them. We weren't in. Yeah, we've that's our senator. But we knew both of them and thought the world of both of them. It was a hard decision.
I had Will on my show like I did. He's been on it twice since he got elected. But with this being a predominantly River Region show, I have him on all the time now. And I had him on when he was running. And we walked downstairs after the show, and he got into his vehicle. I don't know if you ever saw it, and he drove off. It's the worst beat-up looking truck you've ever seen. Must be 100 years old. And I said, Will, that's the best car. That's the best campaign vehicle I ever saw. He said, that's my real car.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that truck?
I have. I've seen it out in front of his office.
He told me that was his real. I said, I'd making fun of him. I said, that was smart of you to get old beat up truck to campaign in.
Yeah.
He said, that's my real vehicle. So during the campaign, he would text me. And I said, what you been doing? He said, I've been campaigning up in Millbrook. I said, that truck make it that far? He said, my wife let me ride with her. You know, campaigning is a tough job, though.
Oh, it is.
But you get to know a lot about your district that way.
Yeah, you do. The good thing is it's confined. So
Yeah.
I don't know how people would run statewide races and, think about every community and every city.
You can't get nowhere about it.
No, you can't.
Get nowhere about
No, I like the personal touch of this is getting to know especially the best people are the people that run neighborhood associations. If you run your neighborhood association, you care because you get all the bad phone calls, and you're doing the most good. And only time somebody wants to talk to their neighborhood association president is when they have something to complain about.
That's right.
And so I really respect. When we lived in Brighton Estates, we were very active on the homeowners association, and that's a thankless job. And those are just good people that do that.
It's almost like being a volunteer fire person.
It is.
Or worse, because I think they may get some compensation.
They do. I believe the volunteer firefighters do, but man, neighborhood association president, that is the thankless job. Yeah.
Well, y'all moved to Sturbridge when it first started?
No, we moved there 13 years ago, and our house was already old at that time.
I didn't know Sturbridge was that old.
Yeah, it's. I was talking to somebody. They moved in the 2000s, and then we moved there about 2010.
And your practice is primarily bankruptcy?
And 90% bankruptcy. I handle the cases that nobody else wants. The guy who has 3 LLCs and 2 apartment complexes, and he's personally guaranteed all of it. They come to me.
Corky doesn't do any of that, does he?
No, Corky does pardons and paroles and some criminal. Corky really cares. Corky, and this goes to our corrections department, is when he gets somebody out of prison, he started a workforce company and employs those people and finds those people jobs. And I think he's doing a great job of caring about people to get them paroled, but not just leaving them there, finding work for them. And, that's the biggest problem with the prison system is once somebody goes in, when they come out, they have a big red X on their head the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And they have a hard time getting jobs. And that's why the recidivism, if I said that right, is so high, is because they can't find employment. And our prison systems, if you've seen the stories and been inside them, it makes people worse instead of rehabilitating, making them better. And then when they get out, so I really commend Corky for finding these people jobs.
Speaking of that, what do you think the solution to our prison thing the Justice Department sent us is going to be?
I think building new prisons is what you have to do. The other thing is to make sure that our judicial system is running correctly. If you're poor and you get caught, you're going to jail a lot longer than if you're well off. Is that fair? Is that adding to the overcrowding? Is it adding to the recidivism rate? And and are we handling our cases? Our district attorneys and our public defenders are all overworked, and they're just running cases through. And is that the best thing for our society and for those people who have made mistakes?
I think that prison reform has got to go hand in hand. And I think Senator Cam Ward, who you know if you hadn't already.
We went to law school together. He was a year ahead of me.
Okay, well, great.
Yeah.
Cam and I've known him for years.
Yeah, he's a good person.
And so you work closely with him. He spearheaded a lot of efforts to get some prison reform going in the state. things like, you know, marijuana use.
Yes.
You know, they shouldn't be in the same prison with somebody who's a murderer.
No, you're absolutely right. I think there's a bill to decriminalize small amounts of marijuana. I think that's coming nationally. I think it's fair. I always say the people that do marijuana, Jack Daniels is worse for you than marijuana. I've never smoked marijuana, don't plan on it, but nobody goes and beats their wife after smoking marijuana. But Jack Daniels, it's legal, and it causes a lot of domestic disputes. And so, you know, did marijuana just get a bad PR back in the day? And is it worse for you? And the thing I like too is that there's a lot of colleges now that have been granted research grants to test marijuana, because we don't know all the effects because of the way that it's been controlled. You couldn't have the testing on it. And I think it's time to open up the test and let's see the medical uses of it. Let's see, you know, the strengths of it versus what we have with alcohol. Alcohol and tobacco is very much regulated.
Well, it's something that's going to be looked at, but Michael, I hate to tell you, our time's up.
Well, it
goes
went by
by
quickly.
yeah.
It does. I enjoyed talking
fun
with you.
Yeah. Folks, our guest tonight has been Michael Fritz, who is a practicing lawyer here in Montgomery, and he's running for an open House seat, House District 74. It's a Republican seat. He's running as a Republican, and the primary will be June 11th, and it encompasses a good part of the city of Montgomery, only the city of Montgomery. But again, we thank Michael Fritz for being with us, and thank you viewers for watching. Hope you tune in again next week for Alabama Politics. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. That was good.